Hi, I'm Chris Davis, realtor with Exit Dreams Realty. Buying a home can seem overwhelming if you haven't done it before or it's been a while since you purchased a home. Today, I'm going to go over all the steps with you so that you know what to expect and how to be better prepared. If you click on the link in the description, you can get access to my free buyer's guide that will help you along the home buying process. Finding a licensed real estate agent is easy, but make sure you find the right one for you. You can do a lot of research from home. Do they live and work in the area that you're looking to potentially move to? Do they have a Facebook business page, YouTube channel, LinkedIn profile? These are just a few ways that you can find out a little bit about the agent before meeting with them face to face. When looking for an agent to represent you, make sure it is someone you feel comfortable with and can communicate with. If they're slow to respond to your calls, texts, or emails before you even agree to work with them, chances are it's not going to get any better once you're working together. A bad agent can make the experience very stressful, while a great agent can make the home buying process appear seamless. If you haven't picked a lender to use, then ask your agent, as they will have some recommendations, because they aren't going to refer you to someone that's not reliable. I prefer working with local lenders that I can go meet face to face if needed, although there are some great lenders that are online only. Not all lenders are created equal, so don't be afraid to shop 2 or 3 different ones and make sure you're getting the best rate and terms for your situation. There are many different programs out there, such as FHA, VA, conventional. These all cater to different situations and have different requirements. Even if you have less than perfect credit, you could potentially get approved for a home loan, so check with the lender before you rule out buying a home. No matter what loan type you have, you may be required to have a pre-approval letter before going to see homes. Some homeowners are requiring it before you can view their home, and it is required once you submit an offer. What are you looking for in a home? Lots of square footage, large backyard, no neighbors? How far from your job, schools, your favorite restaurants are you willing to travel? Do you need access to high-speed internet, local trash pickup? These are just a few things you'll need to consider and communicate with your agent. Be sure to reference the buyer's guide to help you with this part. When working with a realtor, we can set up a search that will email you new listings direct from the multiple listing service. This helps reduce the odds of you missing out on a home. This is when the fun begins. When viewing homes, I recommend taking notes either while walking through or immediately after. I have a form in the buyer's guide that I mentioned earlier. This is important so that later on, when you're comparing homes, you can look back at your notes. If you're on the fence about a home, go look at it. You never know what it's like in person, and you could fall in love with it. Once you find the perfect home, then it's time to put in an offer. Before submitting an offer, make sure you see the seller's disclosure form. This is required to be completed by the seller in the state of Tennessee, and they must notify you of any known material defects or issues. The exception to this is if they're selling it as is, which requires a different form, and you still get the chance to get a home inspection. Knowing what paperwork to submit and what to ask for is another reason why you hire an agent. This is the time for you to put in your inspection, financing, and appraisal contingencies, along with any other requests that you may have. Did you know that it's actually not standard for the refrigerator to stay? So if you want it, ask for it. Know what type of market you're in. Does it favor buyers or sellers? How bad do you really want the house? If you're in a seller's market and you make a low or unreasonable offer, you might miss out on your dream home. Before you submit an offer, understand that if the seller accepts, you are now in a legally binding contract. There will only be a few reasons why you can back out. Once both the buyer and seller agree on terms, then the clock starts ticking, and there are items that must be done by both parties. As the buyer, you most likely agreed to make an earnest money deposit, and if so, you have a small window to get that turned in, or the seller can actually back out of the contract. Next, get a home inspection scheduled. Typically, you have 7 to 10 days to get this completed and any requested repairs turned into the seller. So get it scheduled as soon as the buyer agrees to terms. This could be another round of negotiations depending on what the inspector finds and what you feel is important to you. You will also need to notify your lender immediately once the offer is accepted. They will need to order the appraisal and start paperwork on their end. On the off chance the appraisal comes back lower than the agreed upon price, then you will need to either come up with the difference in cash or negotiate with the seller. A third option would be to negotiate with the lender, but that would be more for someone getting a conventional loan with a higher down payment. Before I go over the last step, if you haven't already, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel as I post new videos just like this each week. Once you get the clear to close, you will wire over the balance of your down payment to the company handling your closing. Typically, the day before or the day of closing, you'll do a final walkthrough with your agent of the home to make sure that there's no issues and everything the seller agreed to leave is still there. Now you get to sign the final paperwork. Commonly, this is going to be done at the closing office, but there are times when it's done outside the office, either at your home, the agent's office, or another location of your choosing. Now it's time to move in and enjoy your new home. Hopefully, you have a better understanding of the home buying process. And if you have any questions about buying or selling a home, my contact info is in the description below. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next week.